Box. And we're doing the part of the Kelsey person that are and would you tell us the name of the person? And would you tell us the location? Thank you. Let's see what I had received from you and showed to the camera.
Oh my gosh, the Arctic Trail?
The Arctic Trail, because that was crazy. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to do influence. You know, we're influenced all the time. I think it's something like 20,000 bits of information hitting us every single day. You know, sounds, images, printed word, and it's no wonder that we're a little crazy and schizophrenic. In fact, even business cards, and I have my business card here, even business cards can influence you. I have an image in my hands, I have words, and I sure hope that you would be influenced. I'm going to do an experiment in influence, and Tank, would you help me? Sure. Come on up, and if you'll stand over here. And Matt, right? Matt, would you come over and you stand right here? And I'm going to try to influence you in ways. It could be an image, it could be words or whatever. And we may use someone else out there in TV land. So remember, usually the influence is on this side of the card, but and usually nothing on the blank side of the card, right? Okay. But we're going to do something just for you. Don't show me, don't show them, don't show Matt. In fact, you could avert your eyes for a minute, Matt. I want you to open the card just for you. Look at it just for you, not even to the cameras. And whatever it is you see, an image, a word, whatever it is that you perceive on the card, I want you, that is my influence, I suppose, I want you to burn that into your imagination. Burn that into your imagination vividly. And after you've done that, fold the card back up.
Okay.
And I want you to keep working on that. And Matt, I'd like, you can now look, and you can avert your eyes. I want you to take the card, and just for you, open the card, whatever you see, words, images, whatever, that's my influence, and let that influence you, okay? And do it, and take it, and I won't even look, and when you're done, fold the card back up.
Okay.
Done? Okay. We're going to use, well, Kim, since you're sitting there, we'll use you. Yeah. And I want you to take the card, and again, I want you to open it up. And at this point, I haven't influenced you. In fact, what do you see on the card? Nothing. Just a blank screen. Okay, so keep thinking about and visualizing, keep visualizing. Did you happen to see words or an image?
I thought image.
Yeah, did you happen to see a word or an image?
Words.
Words, but you see nothing yet. Here's what I want you to do. Take the pen, and I want you to imagine it's like a blank, a nice bright blue sky, and right across the card, right across the middle, like it's draw a line horizontally. Right across the middle. I'm beginning to influence you already. I want you to look at the card, look at it, and it's like a horizon. That's why they call it horizontal. I want you to look at like a horizon. He's very clever, very quick. I want you to imagine that, off in the distance, like sometimes when it's really far, you see someone coming, you just see the top of their head, just the top of their head, and then you see their face, you can't quite make it out. And I want you to imagine someone walking towards you over the horizon. And you don't, are you imagining that? Okay, you're beginning to recognize whether it's a man or a woman, but don't tell me yet. In fact, don't tell me at all. And keep imagining that person coming over the horizon, and now you can actually recognize who the person is. I guess I have to get closer. You're not wearing your glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you recognize the person now? You can. Okay. Print that person's name right on that horizontal line, and then fold the card back up. Okie doke. I'll take the card. I'll take the pen. And I'm just going to work with your thoughts alone. So you were the only one who actually had to write something. So we're going to rip it up. And you saw the person like on the horizon. I mean, you could see them right there on the horizon. In fact, we'll just do this. Keep picturing that person. We're going to start with you. All right. Whatever it was that I influenced you, whatever it was that you saw, and you see it in your mind, I want you to, you said words or something, but I want you to create a visual image. I want you to create, a visual. I want you to actually, is this something that you can see?
Yes.
You can see it, okay. Really picture it. It's very large. It's very large. That's very large, very tall. So not your thing. Not your, very tall. It's a structure of some kind. It's a sunny day, and your eyes almost hurt because the sun's like glinting off of this. There's lots of windows there, isn't there? Lots of windows. Very tall, very pointy. Oh, look at that. Now he's gone south on me a little bit. He's seen this big gorilla climb up this thing, and there's these planes there. Empire State Building is at it.
Yes.
Give Matt a big hand. Kim, I influence you as far as the horizon, but not the person. So you've seen this person. Is this person a friend, a relative? What is this person?
Relative.
A relative about maybe this tall?
No.
Actually, it's a he, isn't it?
What if they had a hat on in my visualization? Is that?
It is a he though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He only looks that tall because you're kind of moderate height.
Yes. Go on.
Well, since this is a relative, I want you to imagine that you're saying hi, whatever his name in your mind. Hi, whatever his name is. Just say it over in your mind again. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. Is it Bob? It is. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Okay, well now, Tank, you've got a picture in your mind.
Yes, I do.
Let's do this. I'm going to give you this pad. You'll take it like that. I'll give you a marker. I will use a small portfolio and another marker, and we'll pretend we're dueling. Turn your back to me. And put your back right up against me, because this is a small show. Tank, if Tank is able to do this, I want you to give them all a big round of applause, because I am thinking of something. And if Tank and I have been able to cooperate and be in influence, I want you to draw whatever it is that you're kind of receiving there, but don't show them yet, Tank. And I'll draw what it is that I was hoping to influence you with. And when you're done, you can let me know.
Okay.
Thanks, very artistic. Okay, hold the pad against you so they can't see what it was.
Hopefully the ink's dry.
That's why I'm wearing a dark shirt and you can wear it this way. Okay, are we ready? Let's see if it worked. did. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You guys have great imagination. Two-handed switches. One-handed switches are great. They're among my favorite, but there are going to be times when two-handed switches are going to help you in routines. And one of the ways they help you is they're moving the billets back and forth between your hands secretly. So if I had a billet in my right hand, but I needed my left hand, I could make that happen. They're also very good when you're working stand up and you have to reach over to one side, let's say your left side, in order to get the billet, and you're going to hand it to someone on your right side, or you're going to take it from the left side, you're going to put it down over here on the right side. They're going to show you several two-handed billet switches, and the master of this was Al Baker. And if you don't have Al Baker's books, which were written 60 years ago, you should get them. So here's Al Baker's first switch, but without a thumb tip. Al Baker used to use a thumb tip with this. It was very clean, but I find that you don't even need it. You're going to have one billet on your right hand. That's the one that you would take from someone in the audience, and you're going to hold it on the outstretched fingers of your hand. It can either be held this way, or it could be held this way. I think it's probably better held sort of laterally in the hand so that your hand can naturally curl in. And again, just enough pressure to hold it, not clenching, just enough pressure to hold it. The billet that you're going to switch in will be in your right hand in that basic utility position so that you can easily slide it out to the fingertips. So the action is you receive the billet from someone on your left, and you're going to come over and take it onto your right and hand it out here. And what's going on is simply this hand's turning over, and this hand is pushing out that billet. I'll give you an exposed view. This hand turns over, and this hand takes it out. Now what makes this work is timing, and what I call the body cylinder. The body cylinder is my torso and my legs, my trunk. The hands out here and out here become somewhat, anytime you have movement from side to side, it becomes distracting, it causes attention. And so when you take the billet from your left, there will be focus there, but as soon as I come into the center, I'm kind of unified. And then as soon as I go out here to my right, the attention has to follow this appendage that's moving. So the switch looks like that, and you just simply relax. So that's Al Baker's first switch, but without a thumb tip. The second switch is one where you hold the secret billet in the utility position and the visible billet on top of it, overlapped like this. And you're going to transfer both to the other hand. And the switch has happened. Let me, excuse me for a minute. Here's the one that's going to be switched in. So if I have it here, I go there, it's switched. Very, very simple. The trick in this is how do you get it there? So the best way to use this switch, I feel, is to have the visible billet, the billet that you want to switch out, on the table. And so we'll pretend this is the table. And reach down and pick up the visible billet like that, so that you're not really positioning it, you're just sort of picking it up and transferring it to the other hand. A little tip that I sometimes use is when I go down to pick up that visible billet, you'll see that the hidden one is in a tent kind of position. I tent it over the visible one, so in other words, it now becomes a single unit. And I find that that makes the switch even easier, that there's even less finger motions to doing that. And that's Al Baker's switch number 2. Now I'm going to show you what I immodestly call the Allen Zingg coordinated two-handed switch. I don't know why I put my name on it. It's really the same things that Al Baker was doing. But I wanted to, again, go back to the classical texts and say, the problem was always hiding one billet and exposing the other and getting that coordination so you weren't drawing one back into the hand too soon or pushing one out of the hand too soon. So to get the coordination, I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'll tell you exactly what's going on. So you take the billet from the left and you hold it in the right. And there's no way that both billets can be seen at the same time. And here's what's going on. We'll do the left hand action over the left hand billet with both hands, and then we'll do the right hand billet. Left hand billet, it comes over. The right hand hits the billet, and the combined motion of left hand and the right hand push the billet behind the left fingers as you continue to the right. Now we look at the right hand's actions. The right hand is holding the billet here, and just before the switch we're going to move from this position to just simply holding it there with light pressure with my thumb. And so we come over here, and as soon as it hits, as soon as the fingers contact this hidden billet, I then pull my fingers away to show that. So it's kind of funny. It's like the disappearing billet and the appearing billet. So the one disappears, and the other one appears. And it can't possibly, they can't have two in the same place because we don't push one out until the other one's pushed away. So in action it looks like this, it looks like that. And if you want, you can hesitate. You can take it like this, come over, start to take it, now put it back for a minute, say, no, would you hold it? And you've added another layer of deception to that. So those are 3 two-handed switches. My preference is probably the first one and the coordinated one. And those are the ones I do the most. All right, this is the pivot switch. I'll do it first, and then I'll kind of tell you what's going on. Obviously, 2 billets, and it's based on an old coin vanish where you used to pivot the coin vanish into the hand to make it vanish. So what I'm doing is I have one billet hidden in the utility position in my left hand, one visible here, and as I go to take this billet, I let my left thumb hit this corner and pivot the billet into the hand. So it's fairly natural. And together, it looks like that. And that's the pivot switch. Influence is one of my favorite routines because it plays big. You use 3 people from the audience, 2 up in the performing area with you, and 1 in the audience. And they're only aware of 1 billet, but you really use 3. 1 is blank, and that billet will be in your right trousers pocket, in your left trousers pocket, and the other 2 will be clipped to your pen. And let me show you what they look like. One of the billets will be blank except you've written the words Empire State Building in the lower left-hand quadrant. The other billet we'll have a drawing of a house right in the center of the billet. You put the two billets together, Empire State Building on top of the house drawing, and you clip these together and they're in your pocket. When you introduce a routine, you talk about we're influenced by images, we're influenced by words, sometimes we're influenced by our own minds. And as you do that, your hands are in your pocket, you're casually resting, and you just push down to remove the two billets while they're in your pocket, and you show them as one. Place them into your left hand. As you say, there are images on the front of the card, and there are words on the front of the card. But very often, there's nothing inside the card. It's just blank, and yet sometimes we can be influenced by that. So I've invited John, and I've invited Sally up here to help me out. And we execute the fold switch, and we give to John the drawing of the house. Everyone in the audience saw the billet blank. He didn't show either John or Sally the supposedly blank billet. And you hand it to John and you say, open the billet and look at it just for yourself. And whatever it is that you perceive on the card, I want you to burn that into your memory, whether it's an image or words or whatever it might be. So let's take a look at that in performance. I want you to open the card just for you, look at it just for you, not even to the cameras, and whatever it is you see, an image, a word, whatever it is that you perceive on the card, I want you, that is my influence, I suppose, I want you to burn that into your imagination, vividly, and after you've done that, fold the card back up.
Okay.
Okay, so John has looked at the picture of the house. He's refolded the billet, and now you take it from him apparently to hand to Sally, and you do the coordinated two-handed switch, and you hand Sally apparently the same billet. Same instructions, open it up, whether you see an image or words, whatever you perceive, just burn that into your memory, and of course she sees the words Empire State Building, and she folds it up. As she is doing that, you casually put your hand in your left hand in your pocket, drop the house billet, and you come out with the blank billet in your hand. By this time, she has finished looking at the billet and folding it up, and you're going to execute the pivot switch as you address someone in the audience and say, but for you, I wonder what you would perceive. And you hand the billet to that person. She opens it up, you say, you see nothing, don't you? It's just completely blank. So that reaffirms what the rest of the audience saw. It seems a little puzzling to each of these people who actually saw something. Say, so you're going to have to draw something on the card. You reach into your pocket, dump off the billet that you switched out, and she now has a blank billet and a pen. So it's completely blank. I want you to draw a line across it, and she draws a horizontal line right across the horizon. So it serves as a horizon. And imagine yourself looking at the horizon, literally, and you see someone coming across the horizon. You just see their head as they get closer. Now you see their torso. Now you see their body. And you recognize the person is now close enough, you recognize them. And I want you to print the name of whoever that is that you see. So she prints the name of her sister, let's say. Now what's nice about this particular language is you get them to do everything that you need to be done. You draw the line across, write the name of this person that you see, fold it up. You're going to take the billet back from her, and you're going to execute a center tear or an instant read center tear. I use Barry Richardson's instant read center tear, which you learned in volume 1, but you could do a regular center tear and you get the read of who it is that she saw as you rip the pieces up and simply toss them away. Now you're set to go. You know who she thought of. You know this person sees the Empire State Building, this person saw the drawing of the house. So I start with this person and I ask her to visualize who it was that she saw. I use some cold reading to describe the person, and then I name who the person is. Thank you very much. I turn to this person and I say, this image you have in your mind, I want you to expand upon it. I want you to actually see it. And that's why I picked Empire State Building, because I can create a verbal picture of that. I can talk about it's very tall. It's very tall. It's in a metropolitan area. It's tall. It's glittering. You know, I can see the sun bouncing off the windows. You see that, right? And you're describing it, but you're getting them to agree. And from the audience's point of view, you're describing what they see. From their point of view, what you're describing is the Empire State Building, so it's very subtle, and it seems like, wow, you're reading their mind. And you finally say, I think it's New York, I think it's the Empire State Building, would that be correct? And of course she says, yes, thank you very much, and that person sits down. Now we turn to this person who saw the house, and I say, but you didn't see a specific building or a specific place. You saw an image of something, yes? Let's see if you can draw that. You hand them a poster board, and you take a poster board, you stand back to back, and you draw a house, and they draw a house. You turn to face the audience, and now you show the two drawings that match. And so now you have a very nice visual ending to a routine with 3 different kinds of telepathy or influence. And try it out. I think you're going to love it. I see your glass is empty.
Yes, I see that too.
We need to fill it with something.
Yes, please.
We're going to fill it with an emotion. We're going to fill it with a question that I'm not necessarily going to answer, but it's a question that you've been wondering about for some time. So I'm going to ask you to, but a question that you have an emotional attachment to. So I want you to write the emotion, happy, sad, angry, and then I want you to write the question on the card, and then fold the card in half and fold it in half again. So I'll give you this. I'll take the wine glass, and here's the pen. So the emotion, write the emotion down, and then the question, not a long question, maybe a few words, and fold it up. I'll take the pen and you can fold the card. She's writing the story of her life.
It's a book.
It's a book. Okay, I'll take the pen, fold it up, I'll take the card, and as I said, we're going to fill your glass. Now, you know, emotions have a quality to them just like wine. Like if you were to hold that up, wine has body. It has nose. It has taste. Well, this is a complex taste. It's a complex taste because it could be a little bit of happiness, also a little bit of anticipation. In fact, it has to do with your security. It has to do with something that you want to happen this year. It has to do with, in fact, owning your own home this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Cheers. So now we're going to explain wine glass telepathy. It's great for strolling situations. You're walking around in parties, if you're entertaining at a cocktail party or an informal private party, and you just walk around with an empty wine glass. Preferably, you want one that is clear and has a longer stem, but this is what we're going to work with today. The reason you want it clear is you want no doubt when the billet is inside that it's inside there. And the reason you want the long stem is you'd like to hold the glass between the base of the glass and the goblet, but we'll make do with this. The only other thing that you need is one dummy billet, which will always remain the same, and then a supply of other billets as you move around the room and ask people to write questions down. So Kenton would have written a question on this and folded it up inside. I would have the dummy here, the wine glass, and I would do the drop switch to drop apparently his billet in the glass, but we can see that it's the dummy billet and his billet is here. With my hand at my side, I will open his billet up so that I'm going to be able to read what he wrote. When you look at the performance, you'll see me talking about how thoughts and questions are like fine wine, emotions. You can smell the aroma. You can see the body as you hold it up to the light. And it even has a taste. So I think that's a little bit of fear. And you begin to answer the question. What's going on is his question is hidden in my hand, and I'm holding the glass here. The question is visible with the longer stem. It'll be visible behind the stem with a glass like this. Perhaps I would hold it like that. So it even has an aroma and even a taste. And I'm refolding his question. And now I answer the question. Now I've got to give it back to him. So we'll do the natural one-handed switch, which we taught you before, and give his question back. And that's wine glass telepathy. Right. Have you heard of like star power? Like there's certain movie stars that just literally leap off the stage.
Oh, sure.
You know,
sure.
and so like John Wayne was bigger than life. He was always bigger than life. Mm-hmm. And today it's the age of the celebrity. But I see so many celebrities, and it's like there's not much charisma there. Mm-hmm. They're just like a flash in the pan. So I like to focus on some of the real stars, like a Clark Gable would be like a real star, type of thing, or a Marilyn Monroe would be like a real star. Mm-hmm. And on these little cards down here, I've written different stars. Let's see, we have one here. Okay, this is Audrey Hepburn. She was certainly a real star.
Absolutely.
You could fall in love with Audrey Hepburn.
Sure.
And you
I
probably
think
did.
A few times.
So there's a bunch of stars here.
Okay.
But I have a blank one here. And what I would like you to do, Ray, is think of a movie star, male or female, who was particularly, you were particularly drawn to that person. You said, man, that's a star. Every time that person's in a movie, I want to see that. Mm-hmm. Okay? Do you have someone in mind?
Yeah.
Okay. So just print that name there, and then fold the card back up, if you will.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to give you that, don't I? Let me turn away so I can't see.
Okay.
Done? Well, it feels very powerful. Listen, we're going to mix it here. Just mix them up. And I'm going to ask you to hold the pendulum here. As you hold the pendulum, I want you to hold it over those folded cards. I'll take that. Hold it over those folded cards. I'm going to spread them around. Now you mix them, you have no idea which.
No, I don't.
Okay. And when you feel drawn to any one, whichever one you feel drawn to, Ray, you can see it's moving. Just let the pendulum touch down on the one that you feel most drawn to. This one here, interestingly enough, here, you can take it. I'll take the pendulum. Let's see if you found your star. Open it up. Don't show me. Just open it up and tell me if you found your star.
I did.
You did? Okay. Well, now let me hold the pendulum over your star. Oh, wow. You're really grooving on this star. It's a she. How could it not be? And someone who has not been seen for many years. In fact, I think she passed away a few years ago. Kind of a reclusive personality in her later years. I'm going to say Greta Garbo.
That's right.
Is that it? Thanks very much, Ray. This is Star Power 1. On Body 1, you saw Star Power 2. The reason this is Star Power 1 is the first one I came up with. And the premise is that movie stars and certain celebrities have an aura that transmits, and you're going to use a pendulum to detect that. To prepare, take a bunch of your business cards and write the names of different movie stars down. You know, those that you feel have charisma and star power. And then you have one blank, and you may open some up and say, for instance, Marilyn Monroe, and you open another one up, and you just put them down. And as you do that, you then take a blank card, and you say, I'd like you to write the name of a star that you feel has real charisma. So they do that, and as they're doing that, you just sort of shuffle these around and just steal any one of them. You take their billet and you apparently drop it with the rest, and you mix them up and say, please mix them up as thoroughly so no one knows where anything is. I'll even turn my back if you want to. And so they do that. And you had done the drop switch, so you retained their billet, which you open up in your hand, and you take pendulum, and that's the exposed view, or you're dead onto them. I want you to hold the pendulum and let it swing over these billets, and while you're doing that, you get to read what's in the hand. Hand on the pendulum, your right hand drops to your side, and you fold their billet back up. And whatever mumbo jumbo you start sorting out and say, gee, that one really seems to be the one that is reacting most over. And you pick it up with whatever kind of switch you want to, and you say, here, hold on to it, open it up, and tell me if in fact that is the star that you chose. And they open it up, and of course it is. You say, but don't show me. So the first effect is that the pendulum discern the magnetic energy of the star, and then while they're holding this, you take the pendulum and you hold it over their hand and let the pendulum go around, and it's a male star, and it's someone who is known to be He-Man and was in a Western and so on and so forth, and it happens to be John Wayne. And that's Star Power 1. Do you know what this is? This is a thought tree. This is something that Artifact sells. In fact, I may want to get this myself. It's a thought tree. It has all kinds of thoughts. In this case, we have pictures, and so someone obviously was thinking of Radio City Music Hall, and over here they were thinking of the Hotel La Poule, and this looks like an LA kind of thing, and it's really neat. And we're going to do something with this thought tree and your thoughts. And Emily, here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to think of maybe when you were in grade school or high school, your first crush, okay? Whoever, it may not have been a true love, but your first crush. Okay? And I want you to print that person's name on the card and then fold it up. You'll do that? And we're going to make this really impossible because this is a thought tree. And we're going to like lock your thought in an envelope, and then I'll ask you to do this. And what I'm going to ask you to do, Emily, is I'm going to ask you to seal it up and then write your name on the outside.
Wait, permit?
Yeah, just lick it and seal it, and then write your name on the outside. Okay? And while you're doing that, I'm going to give you a card, and I'd like to. Did you have a pet when you were a child?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you to print the name of the pet and fold that up. Okay? And I'll take this, Emily, and this is your thought, which is your first crush. And we'll put that right there. So that's Emily's. Oh, this was a heavy crush. This is like this was heavy duty. This is like something that okay. And and you're done already. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do the same. Have you do the same thing. We'll drop your thought into the envelope, and I'd like you again to seal that up and write your name on it. Okay, I'll take this, and Desiree, we'll put your thought over here. And Neil, I want you to be the artistic one this time.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is to draw a picture of something that we could all recognize, and then when you're done, fold it up. I like Neo because he's left-handed. I'm left-handed too. It's keep thinking of your first crush. Keep thinking of that pet, and we'll drop the whole thing in there and do the same thing. Seal it up, and also, if you would, put your name on it. I'll take the pen, and we'll put your thought over here. Great. So it's a thought tree. Your thoughts are here. I'm going to try to capture them. I want you to think of your first love. Think of your first love over here. What grade were you in?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Third?
Third. Wow. You started early. That's okay. I think I had a crush. I can't even remember who the person was. It's fiction, probably even before I was in school. Think of that person, and I'm going to write down what I get here. Think of him. How long did this relationship go on for?
It wasn't really a relationship.
Okay.
Temporary crush.
Okay. So he didn't know.
Not really.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to, I'm going to give this to you, but I don't want you to look at it. Okay? Hold it against your body and don't look. Okay. She's still thinking about this guy. I want you to think of the pet. Is the pet still in your family, or the pet is still in your family? So it's pretty current. Okay. I must have left that in my pocket. I did. Is this a dog? I didn't think so. Same thing. Same thing goes for you. I'm going to give it to you. Don't read it. Just hold it against your body. Okay. Yeah. Now you drew something. We have no idea what you drew. Do the circle. You know what? I need you to draw it again, but draw it bigger.
Okay.
Okay. Same drawing, but bigger. I'll stand over here.
Okay.
Tear that sheet off, hold it against your body. Okay, I'll take this. I'll take this, concentrate on that. Concentrate. Close your eyes for a minute. I'm going to put my drawing right here. Okay, we're going to start with you, Emily. Now, I kind of had to do this because the camera wants to see it. Normally, I don't open these envelopes. I just leave them sealed. But the camera wants to see so that they will believe, they'll know. Justin. Turn around. Oh yeah, Justin. Is that crazy? Or you can have that too. Now, you have a cat, and you said it wasn't a dog, so obviously it was a cat or something like that. And I want you to concentrate on that. What is your cat's name?
Groucho.
Groucho. Does he slink around with a cigar?
No, but he's got a little mustache.
He's got a little mustache. Turn it around. Groucho. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have Groucho and that. Now, before I show mine, what would you turn it and show us what it was that you drew? You didn't draw that.
I drew that.
No, not the first time. You didn't draw it the first time.
Yeah.
No,
No?
you didn't draw it the first time. Let's see. Okay, so he did. And that's what I drew too.
Wow.
Thank you for helping with the thought tree. Thank you. This is my version of fourth dimensional telepathy. Fourth dimensional telepathy is a classic routine going back to Animan and involves 3 different people writing their thoughts down, folding them onto little slips of paper, and sealing them in envelopes. The performer then is able to mentally determine what their thoughts are. And it's been a routine that has been had variations on a theme for many years, and the most recent and most influential performer who's published and performed these is Bob Cassidy, an amazing creative and wonderfully performing mentalist. You'll have to look up his works to find his routines. This particular routine is a little bit different from most fourth dimensional telepathy routines because the envelopes need never be opened. The participants write their thoughts down, the thoughts are sealed in the envelopes, and you're able to tell them what they thought of. and you will see that happen in the performance. We will walk through that sequence, but now I'm going to show you the guts of this, and it's really a special envelope. These are number 3 coin envelopes. You can buy them at Staples or any office supply store. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually cut a hole in the back of the envelope. The best way to do this is to get a piece of cardboard from a pad, cut it to the width of the envelope, insert it, and then with a straight edge and an X-Acto knife, you're going to make a number of cuts. You'll make one cut all the way across, about 1/3 of the way down from the top of the envelope. You're going to make another cut about 1/4 inch in from the side on the left, and another cut 1/4 inch in all the way down right through the bottom of the envelope on the right side. And finally, you're going to just slice off a sliver of the envelope from the bottom here, so that what happens is you're now able to open the envelope like this. You'll use a glue stick and apply glue here and here and along here, and then you will fold them down so that they stick. I also put a piece of Scotch tape over this bottom portion. The final thing you're going to do is turn it into a flapless envelope by applying glue stick to the flap and folding it in. The reason you use glue stick is you want this to be completely flat. Here's what the finished product looks like. And it's got quite good substance, but you can see that anything dropped into this will drop out easily. When I first thought of this idea, I thought about just cutting off the bottom of the envelope, but sometimes the card would get stuck up in there, but in this way, it doesn't. You want to sort of give this, precondition this by buckling it so it's like a tube. And now you take a stack of other similar envelopes, fold the flaps of them all down, with the exception of the one on the face, and you put the special envelope right there. What happens is, if you drop the card in, it drops right out. Of course, we're not going to let that happen. And then you give the envelope to someone to seal. Next card, you just slide that up, do the same thing, they drop it in, they get that envelope to seal. And of course you've put dummy cards in each of these other envelopes so that when they get their envelope, there is a folded card inside and they can see it and they can feel it and they think they've got their card. Well, you have their card. So now that you know how to make this up, let me go through the routine of fourth dimensional telepathy with you. I've orchestrated it so that you can easily get the cards and see what they've written. So you put that special flapless envelope on top of a stack, put a rubber band around it so it doesn't get out of order in your pocket, and all you need are, in the top 3 of these, folded business cards so that you can hand those 3 envelopes out and they'll see and feel supposedly their card in there. And then you need 3 cards which are pre-folded that they will use to write on, and what you do is you pre-fold them, open them out, and put them in your right trouser pocket. So you take the card out, you ask someone to think of something in the routine that you saw. Think of the first crush you ever had and write that person's name down. They write it down, they fold the card up. You open this, remember we can see right through it. And you say drop your card in, but you only let it drop down to where your finger is. Okay, so your finger keeps it there. You hand it to them and you say, seal it, and hold on to it. Now you can see the card here. I can come over here and acquire it and pull it out. What it looks like from a distance, I'll do that again. What it looks like from a distance is the card goes into the envelope. We give you that. I take the envelope, says just seal it up really good. And I don't pull this out with my right hand. I move the envelopes, leaving the card in my right hand. Put the envelopes on top of that and put this stack up, sticking out of my pocket as I reach into my pocket to get the next card, and I just leave that in my first one that I stole in my pocket. Next person gets a card and a pencil, and we say, think of, if you had a pet when you were a child, think of that pet's name, write it down. They write it down. You have them drop it in. You have them seal the envelope. You say, seal it up good, and hold on to the envelopes. You've stolen the second one. Go into your pocket, leave that, take the third one out, hand it to someone, and you say, I'd like you to draw a picture, any picture you want to. You don't know what anyone's written so far. You have the first two in your pocket. They do the picture, drop it in, you say, seal it up, remember to hold on to it nice and tight, and now you're ready to go. You've got all of their information in your pocket. In your pocket you also have a marking pen, so you can, like a Sharpie, and you can take it out, and you take the first artboard, and you just open up whatever the card is. You see what it is, so you know whose it is, and you say, I want you to concentrate on your first crush. You write the name of that person. You give them the artboard and you say, don't look at it, hold tightly against your chest. I'll take your envelope, that's a receipt, and you just throw it down. And you go to the next person and you do the same thing. And then the third person, you do the same thing. And you can see all the presentation touches in the performance, but that's the mechanics. And it's really it's really terrific and really diabolical. Let me close by talking a little bit more about the mechanics of the envelopes, just why it makes it so why it works so well. And that is, you can never get hung up. Let's say, for example, they drop it in, and for some reason it doesn't come out of the bottom. It just sort of, the stack is like that. Well, you can find, when that happens, you can just sort of push the top envelope up, and that card will be exposed. And you can do the same. You can do the same thing, and put the envelopes away, and you've stolen the card. But let's say that when you did that, it didn't stick out of the bottom, and when you moved the envelope up, it didn't appear. Somehow it's stuck up there. Well, in that case, just push the whole envelope over and say, and seal it up, and it's right there, and then just put it back, and you've got the card. So there's almost no way that you can't get their card easily as soon as they drop it into the envelope. And this is an extremely valuable tool, and I think you'll enjoy using it. So now I'd like to talk to you about using billets for pre-show. It's a great way to get information in advance of your show. Here's a couple of billet switches using an envelope, using a coin envelope. They're easy, they're quick, and deceptive. The first one, take your coin envelope, take the billet that you're going to switch in, put it in your jacket, clip to your pen so the billet is there with the envelope. Okay? And you remove your card, open it up, and ask the person to put whatever information on the billet that you want. While they're doing that, you take the envelope out and put it in your left hand, so the billet is held behind the envelope. Now you need two people for this, really, the person you're working with and their friend. And you say, okay, drop your billet on the envelope, and you say, and would you seal the billet in the envelope? And that's the switch. You're simply turning your hand over and exposing the one underneath, drawing their billet into your hand, seal it in, hold onto the envelope, and we'll use that during the show. So that's the first switch. The second switch you can do with just one person. Same idea of clipping the billet and the envelope to your pen in your pocket. They're completing their information. You reach into your pocket to get the envelope out, and you have the dummy ready. You say, I want you to seal your billet in this envelope, so please check it out. You give them the envelope, and you pick up their billet to hand them and switch it in, and that's it. So by where, what I mean is really two things. What surface do you have them write on? Is it a business card? Is it an index card? Is it a scrap of paper? A restaurant receipt? Is it some sort of special kind of paper that somehow fits the presentation? And then there's the second part of where is often in billet work you have to have whatever's being written in a certain area so that you're going to be able to access that later. So my feeling is that those choices again are dictated by who you are as a performer, what your performing circumstances are, and what the routine is. So as an example, you have this wizard persona. I tend to be somewhat corporate looking and work for a lot of corporations. So I tend to use business cards almost all the time, except perhaps in stand-up I might use some index cards. You might not use that. You might use something that appeared to be somewhat more either arcane or somewhat more casual.
That's true. I mean, I think it's worth at least experimenting with things you run into in everyday life, or whatever your peculiar performance situation is. And when I was doing a lot of close-up, I'd look around and say, well, there's always napkins, and sometimes there's cocktail napkins, and there's a lot of gum wrappers right now, and there's a lot of various receipts, as you mentioned. So learning to try to incorporate some of those pieces of paper that are really in your life or in your situation is really important. You can't quite do every move with every piece of paper, but you learn which things you can use, apply to the kinds of paper you run into in everyday life. I think that's really an important thing to do. The other thing I do is, like you say, is what is appropriate to my character, what's natural for my character. In my character, typical business cards wouldn't quite be appropriate. But something unusual looking, a piece of scrap that looks like parchment, that kind of thing. Well, that makes sense to people. Or even a card, as long as it had weird symbols on it or something, that would be appropriate.
Okay. And I would think also that were you formally performing or you were informally performing? So if I'm doing a formal performance, I might have a nice neat stack of index cards or nice neat prepared slips or something like that, because I'm coming here to perform for you. But if I'm using billet work to really amaze and entertain someone, almost as if it's on the fly, then to use what's at hand. Oh, we'll use this piece of paper, we'll tear a little piece of paper off this newspaper you don't like, do you? And go with that.
That's correct. Just last week I was in a high-end pen store, and they also happen to sell fragrances, and they have the little paper blotters, relatively thick but not overly thick. And when I'm asked to do something, which I always am when I go into that particular store, that's a nice option. Just say, well, you sell, pens. Give me a really high-end pen there for a minute, and I will use one of these blotters and try something. It's always, it is environmental, I think.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it's jarring, then that raises suspicion. Why do I have to do it in this way, and why is he using that thing? And that leads to the other wear, which is where on the writing surface, let's say a slip of paper, do you write? If that's not logical, that raises suspicion. I've seen a lot of times where you'll have we'll use a business card, and they'll say lots of words up here, and then there's like a little line down here that says, okay, write it down there. And you say, like, well, that's kind of odd. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And but there are ways of managing the space so it doesn't feel odd, and it feels like, well, that's a normal thing to do. I'll do that. And again, I think it's what is your presentation? What is your premise to, and how does that choice match that?
Let me show you one simple thing with that, is that I sometimes do. So if I'm using two people, especially a couple is great, but if I'm using two people, if I have someone sign their name across just the top, okay, long ways, and then I say, well, that's great, but now you're also a good friend or a partner with this person, so I need your names to intersect, and so I give them the second person the card and have them sign their name this way, so they're linked, but they're also individual. Now their two energies are together, but out of necessity, I've left this open, almost seemingly accidentally.
That's great. That tip is worth this tape. But I didn't know it really is. That's a very organic approach and makes a lot of sense. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure. And then, of course, this being open, any combined problem or something we're working on, it makes sense that would go there.
Yeah.
So it really does seem natural.
That's terrific. That's a great tip. You'll see in the DVDs other ways of managing space, and those ways of managing space are very specific to the routines in which they're embedded. And so you'll have a lot of examples of how to choose where and how to direct people to write in the appropriate spaces. I want to share with you some resources for Billet Switchwork. And there are many more, but here are some that I think you can start with. The classic text was mainly mental by C.L. Bourdet, and it's just filled with almost every kind of switch that you could imagine, and was hard to find for many years, but now you can find it. 13 Steps to Mentalism by Corinda has a whole chapter on billet switches and billet work, and is also an excellent resource. A more modern work is Act Two by Barry Richardson. Barry's a good friend of mine and tremendous creator and also very good performer with billets. And he and I share a love for switchwork. And so you'll find a lot of interesting switches and great routines in this book. Highly recommended. And then, of course, my own book. I know it looks thin, but there's a lot of routines in here. There's 10 routines, 5 techniques, some of which you've seen on this in this video series. But for those of you who like to read from the printed page, this is an excellent resource for Billet switchwork. And of course, anything by Animan, the Jinx, Practical Mental Effects, and there was a rather large book, I think it was called Complete Animan, put out a number of years ago. T.A. Waters' Mind, Myth, and Magic also has Billet switchwork in it. If you go to these resources, you'll find plenty to work with, along with what you've learned on this particular volume of the Billet course.